Hi all. Hi all, I'm Cullen Haynes and welcome to LawLive, live with Cullen Haynes, episode 73. Cannot believe we're at episode 73, my goodness. But I'm about to bring you an absolute legend. Been in law over 25 years and been doing her business for the last 12. The dual founders of Law on Earth and Virtual Legal. Can you please make very welcome my dear friend, the one, the only, the incomparable, Miss Katie Richards. How are you, Katie? Welcome to the LawLive show.
Thanks, Cullen. Yeah, it's great to see you.
It's great to see you too. And everyone's probably wanting, who haven't had the pleasure to meet you, what is happening in your world and what is it exactly, in a sentence or two, what is it you do?
Yeah, okay. So I'm a commercial corporate property lawyer. I spend sort of maybe half my time doing that in high-end strategy for CEOs, companies anywhere from, like the smaller tech startups right up through to quite big corps. So Virtual Legal is the law firm in Australia and New Zealand. We never meet our clients, so we've had to do a lot of tech and make sure we're being really efficient in legal services. Law on Earth is a self-service platform, so that's obviously purely tech, teaching people how to do it all themselves. I do that. And then on the side, I'm also doing AI platform development that we can license out to all the law firms so that they don't have to be so scared of AI and they can do it in a safe way. And I do some consulting work here and overseas.
I don't know how you fit it in, Katie. I really don't. You're an absolute superstar. Ever since I met you I think it was like 5 or 6 years ago, I was just enamored by how much you're able to get done in one day. You seem like to have 48 hours in a day rather than 24.
Yeah, I just don't sleep much.
You're like me. You plug yourself into the wall, right? And
that's it. Like Astro straight
up. Well, you've worn so many hats, Katie, and there's a lot of people joining. So I will just say before we get into the questions, put your questions. We're streaming live, LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch. We'd love to ask Katie in real time. It's 10:52 Australian Eastern Daylight Time. So please, this is live, so use the platform. But you've worn many hats: lawyer, founder, educator, platform builder. What's been the main thing that keeps you grounded in all the many hats that you wear?
I think, Cullen, it has to really be being really clear about your purpose. And because there's been a lot of really challenging moments over the years, especially in the tech space. We've burnt hundreds of thousands, millions in tech, just trying to solve access to justice. And my mum made a really good point to me a couple of years ago saying, you could have happily retired and be living a nice, cushy life right now. Why is it so important to you? But it is so important to me. And I think, no matter what I'm doing, whatever hat I'm wearing, just being super focused on why am I doing this? Should I be doing it? Is there a better way to do it? Is there a better person to do this while I step into something I'm more passionate about? And just constantly asking those questions. So I have check-ins every morning with myself, the little board meetings of a sole director. Be really clear all the time.
No, it's so important. And, wanting to keep it nice and light. If you had to use your film titles to explain your life so far, I know we were laughing offline about this one. How would you do that?
I think it'd be a combination between maybe Legally Blonde. So she's probably used all the unconventional ways of being a lawyer, and I was the same. Yes. I didn't come from a legal family, so I just brought my bright, vibrant self to law and said, "Hey, here I am. Deal with me."
I love that.
Sometimes I'd say even Dumb and Dumber. I'm sure
Jim Carrey, Paul Daniels. I love that movie.
Fail fast, fail forward, get moving. Let's just get yourself off the ground. Let's just keep going. There's no time for sooks in my plan.
No, it's so good. I'd love to know one thing you said. You don't come from a law family. So what is it about the law that gravitated you towards it?
I think I watched too much Ally McBeal.
I remember that show. Oh my God.
I started off in med science. I only ever wanted to be a doctor. And my family were actually really disappointed when I chose law a couple of years into doing med science. And I just thought, I can really have a big impact. I could be a great doctor, but I could really make a huge change in thousands, millions of people's lives if I went law and I just did it the way it should be in my mind. And so I already had a vision of what I saw as the new world in where I could take law. And I was so naive because I wasn't from a legal family to know that's not the way we do things in law. So I'm like,
correct.
Yeah, let's just go.
No, I'm really endeared by what you're saying, especially the tech aspect, right? And we're calling this, law, legacy, and leveraging innovation, right? So you've built Virtual Legal and Law on Earth, both bold, tech-driven platforms. What inspired you to go and disrupt the traditional model? Like, why did it need disrupting? And and why did you think, I'm just going to do that? That's me, Katie Riches. That's my job.
Yeah, I think ever since I was born, like just productivity has been something that's just been self-baked into my my identity as who I am. It's not just what I do. So every single thing I look at and see, I see little patterns on how it could be done better. Like I don't even look for it. It just pops up in my brain constantly. So when I got to legal, I was just surrounded by inefficiency. And because I obviously wasn't from a legal background, I challenged the status quo because I didn't know you're probably not meant to. So it was just like, hey, I put down on a big piece of paper at my very beginning of my career, this is how we do everything. Let's come from the focus that everything's wrong. And then I can argue why it's right instead of saying, let's argue everything's right and taking it the other way around and finding a problem. It's like, well, let's assume it's wrong. And then let's work out if it is wrong, well, how should every element be? And how can we piece them together in a way that we can scale this stuff and not be reliant on one person?
No, I really am picking up what you're putting down, because another great lawyer that I think you'd resonate with is like Bill Ash. And he talks about the same thing. I think went to a talk of his back in 2018. He said, everything in the world that we follow is made up. We've just put constructs around it, right? So even like in banking and law, all these rules we've made up based on stipulation. So I love that thought that everything's wrong. How do we make it right? And then you build your life from that rather than the other way around. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Very good. And you've said yourself, technology should never replace lawyers. It should empower them. In some of your posts back time away. And you're probably saying that before everyone's using the buzzword AI. I saw an AI toaster the other day. My goodness, I think it's going a bit crazy. But do we need an AI toaster? But do you still believe that technology should never replace lawyers? I'd love to get into that, because we're hearing the doom and gloom. We're all going to lose our jobs. All this, there's going to be no brokers anymore. It's all going to be direct to bank. I'd love to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, look, I have kind of mixed thoughts at this stage. I still think that we need lawyers to bring the human element, because even if the machines can do everything, and I assure you we're getting to a point where they are going to be able to do pretty much everything, because there's a lot of facial recognition which recognizes patterns in emotions, that kind of stuff, so there will be a way that they can pick up on things better than someone who's not that emotionally intelligent but is a lawyer may not pick up. But I still think that humans want to be seen and heard by humans.
Agreed.
Just as a matter of a self-worth issue. And I think because of that, if nothing less, we still need the humans in the mix. We just need to support them as much and as well as we can, so that they're, number one, correct in what they're doing and saying. When they're, especially as, there's so much going on in the world at the moment. If we don't help them to focus, where are the issues? What are you not seeing? Because a machine can pick up things that you're not seeing. It can speed up the way that you can do things, and then you can spend more time with the client, because the client doesn't want to watch you draft a document. If they're spending time with you, they want you. And so trying to do that. Yeah. But even if I'm doing video sessions, I might use a HeyGen or something like that to actually, they'll still see me and it'll look like it's me actually giving a video session for general advice, even if I'm, teaching the students. But it will be an AI version of me that's actually doing it, and they still feel like they're getting me. I'm not there.
I find that amazing, that we're getting to that level. And I heard it the other day. It's I just want to know what the time is. Don't tell me how the clock works. I think we in business think that clients want to hear all the things that go into it, and they just want their problem solved. They want you, and they just want you to know, hey, leave it with me, Katie. I've got this.
Listen.
I've got it sorted. That's all they want to hear from you, right?
I have a theory that says, bring me the baby. Don't show me the labor pains. Give me the outcome. Give me the outcome I asked for. Don't tell me about all the problems unless you need me to solve them for you. So, and that's what the clients want. They don't care if they've got a lawyer that's got 20 years experience. They want to know, this is I'm dealing with. This is how it makes me feel. What can you do to take that away from me? Change the way that I feel. That's all they care about. That's all they ever cared about.
That's so true. I've never heard that analogy before, but it is brilliant. And I'm sure when we get this down to 60 seconds, it's going to go viral. There you go. I love this, what you talk about, and we're talking about it offline. What does intentional living and gratitude, and how does that play into how you lead and build businesses? Because it's intentional living is so fantastic, that concept.
Yeah, absolutely. So, especially because I'm an A personality type, as a lot of we founders are, it's really important to be intentional about where I am, what I'm doing, what matters to me. And then at the beginning of every day, I'll actually sort of write down, what are the things that I'm grateful for so that I stay grounded. And they could be random things like today, I noticed that it's freezing cold, but there's no clouds in the sky. It's a beautiful blue color, the sky today. But something like that reminds me, like, I'm lucky just to be alive, because some people don't have that, So just starting with something simple, and then about being intentional. Each day is going to be a different box of chocolates as a founder. You have to say, okay, well, today, my intention today is to feel energized. What do I need to do for that? I need to make sure I'm hydrating properly, because I'm not going to be able to think straight and be the best lawyer I can be unless my brain's working. So just slowing it down, of course, slowing it down and saying, okay, what am I trying to achieve? Or it might be another day where I'm going to be with clients and it's like, well, I want to be vibrant today. So what do I need to do to actually be that vibrant version of myself? And we have so many versions of ourselves. If we're intentional about who's going to show up that day, we can just be the best of that version for what's needed for that day.
Good point. And I think there's a lot of lessons that people can pick up on that. I was talking with the team this morning, our sales team, just mirror work and just self-affirmations before you get into the office can be very helpful. And we put on a clip from Cool Runnings, I see pride, I see power, and, all that stuff. It's so important. Because if you don't do it, who else is going to do it? No one's going to fill your cup for you. Everyone's looking to see what they can take. So you've got to fill yourself up first.
Absolutely.
And I think we talked about it as well, the power of saying no as well to the things that aren't important. Because when you say yes to the unimportant things, it means that you're saying no to the important things, right?
We all have the same number of hours in a day, and you're the CEO of your life. Like, you have to say, it's not like you don't have time to do stuff. You're just choosing, and the things that you're not changing, you're choosing. So I'm actually going through a phase of that at myself at the moment, where I've gotten inundated with a lot of projects that I've got on the go, and I've stopped to actually think, hang on, am I actually taking care of myself amid all of this going on? So now, I'm going to have a weekend where instead of doing all the things I was going to do and all the planning and stuff, I'm actually going to have a what do I need? Because I'm my number one client. If I don't look after me.
Oh, good point. Yeah, well said. No, that's so brilliant. That's absolutely brilliant. And I once heard that your email inbox is someone else's to-do list for you. When you think about it, yeah, so you got to prioritize.
They can keep it.
Other people's things. This is what you need to do. But from Domino's to NAB, you've advised huge companies in your time, but you've also helped startups. So what do business and small business founders get so wrong when it comes to their own legal strategy and path forward?
I would say across the board, they don't have backup plans. Really, they think, okay, well, this is a problem, but this is not a problem that's going to happen to me. And so they'll say, okay, well, let's put our head in the sand as long as we can until we need to pop up, or we'll insure for that. But if you actually think about what are all the things that could knock us off at the beginning, no matter what size business you are, and you do some kind of business continuity plan. So if this happens, this is what we're going to do about it. This is the chance of it. Who's going to do it? And this is what it's going to look like. You can sleep at night because, even if something terrible goes wrong, you have a plan in place. And so I try to teach that to the baby startups now. And then when I'm finding the bigger companies, saying, okay, what's your backup plan if you get data breached? What's this? What's that? Because I do a lot of work around the consulting in the AI space. So where people are piecing together things, okay, what's your backup plan? This is amazing. Look at all the efficiency you've saved. Now, with some of that time you've saved, let's go back and plug in the holes behind these systems so that your whole business is not going to end up on fire with a cyber incident, just because you've saved 10, 15 minutes a day. So
good. Very well said. Very well said. Maybe that's a nice segue into what we're going to be talking about here as well. What's a mindset you think that every person or every lawyer or business owner needs to make right now in 2025 with the advent of all this technology?
I think they need to mud map whatever they're planning on doing. Don't just go, oh, hey, I've heard this is great. Let's download. Oh, ChatGPT, great. I'm going to use it. They need to be really mindful of the big picture. So stop, sit back, do some strategy. If I use this, how will it connect? What time will it save? But who else will have to do this? How will it impact the way that the customers relate to us on an emotional, mental level?
Yes.
Can it add some risks? What can I change? What do I need to change? So don't just jump because you're tired and you're time poor. Sit down, spend the time, get a business coach, whatever you need to do. Like when we're going to be bringing out that AILawyer.com in the next couple of months, and that's going to be an education platform for lawyers, business owners alike, where I'm going to go through all the different AI functions and AI programs and talk about them from, yes, it can do this. If you're going to use this, make sure you think about this, think about that, adjust your privacy policy to say this, and giving people the advice that they need to actually function safely in that AI space. And I think lawyers need to think about that. Don't be scared of technology, but be smart about it.
That's a really good point you make. And obviously with all this technology, you got to find a way to switch off too. So how does Katie Richards find time to wind down and switch off? Is there a ritual you do per day? I'd love to know, Katie.
Mate, you're gonna laugh at this. Actually, I have a trampoline in my office.
I love that.
So I'm a mad Tony Robbins fan.
Oh, the priming.
Knows that. Yeah. So I go to all the events, like over in Florida and Fiji. I'm in the Mastery University.
Oh, good on you.
Yeah, so we have like proper, stuff that we're meant to do each morning with celery juice and lemon water, and then 5 minutes jumping on the trampoline, which shakes up your lymphatic system. And so what it does is that you've been laying sedentary all night, so it just really gives your body a massive, bounce. Well, pardon the pun, in the morning. But what it also does is that if I'm finding that during the day I'm starting to get a bit of a slump, instead of going for a coffee now, I go and jump, me and the staff go and jump on the trampoline for a couple of minutes, and you literally feel like you've just had like 6 coffees.
How good is that? It's just that energy, right?
It's so fun too.
That's amazing. Everyone who's watching this, invest in a trampoline. It could
like
change yours
$100.
and your business life.
Yeah,
100%.
And your inner child comes out during the day, so it brings back your joy. Like joy's my default position. So if I can jump on the trampoline several times a day, we are happy as Larry.
Fantastic. And look, we're nearing sort of the mid to end of the stream. So if anyone's got any questions, please join in. We've got a few people joining in and obviously rewatching on YouTube and listening on Apple and Spotify. But what's a piece of advice you'd give to someone starting out in law or business, do you think, Katie?
I think it's really important to have a plan. Don't just think about, like what did your old firm do or what businesses you've been in the past. There's information superhighway these days. There's absolutely no excuse for you not getting up to speed on the very basics of business. Like you've got platforms like Law on Earth that's got loads of different precedents that have been drafted by we lawyers in virtual legal. They're high quality. There's heaps of learning guides. You can go and do that, learn about the legal side of things. There's heaps of information on YouTube. Sit down and actually write an active live business plan so that no matter what you're doing, this is how I want to live my life. And then build the business around that, because what will happen, you'll get consumed by your business and then you'll have no life and then you'll be mad at everyone and burn your savings. So work out what kind of life do I need? How do I need to build the business so that it actually works for my life, my preferred lifestyle?
I absolutely love that. So
I did not get that right at the beginning.
Take the time to do all that, right? No, fantastic. And when all is said and done for you there, Katie, how would you like to be remembered one day? We're talking about obviously legacy in this podcast.
Yeah, look, I would really like if people remembered me as someone who made the world a better place than the way that I found it. I feel like I've done a bunch of different types of things to support the legal fraternity in getting up to speed with tech. I know that we've helped, thousands of people in Law on Earth with access to justice. We helped saved hundreds of businesses in COVID.
That's incredible.
So just being having been a good human.
Good human. Leave people better than you found them and leave the world better than you found. I think you're already doing that in spades there, Katie. Thank you so much for joining us today. When can people find you? Where are you hanging out the most?
Mostly at Virtual Legal. So it's virtuallegal.com.au. You'll find me on LinkedIn.
Yes.
Please come and join me on LinkedIn. We've got some videos and stuff on YouTube. You can find me pretty much anywhere these days. I'm doing a bit of stuff with Ticker News. I'm not hard to find, unfortunately.
Very good. And which Tony Robbins event are you going to next that you can share?
Business Mastery. So it's the last
Business
one of all the
Mastery,
series
guys.
now. Yeah, that's in Florida. So there's 300 of my friends that are catching up for the first 4 days when we get there. And then there's about 6,000 of us doing Business Mastery together for the week.
Wow. Okay. So if you are a fellow Tony Robbins junkie like Katie and myself, get to Business Mastery in Florida and hang out with like-minded people, right? And maybe get on the trampoline too.
Brilliant.
Very good. Very good. Well, we'll bring you back for some bonus questions, Katie. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been fantastic and illuminating, to say the least.
Thanks, Cullen. It's been a pleasure.
Speak soon there, Katie. And if you are a legend of law or know someone who is and you'd like to be on the show, we come out every Wednesday. We've got spots, I think, in April 2026. I know we're booked out until then, but you can listen to us wherever you get your podcasts, on YouTube. And it's been a pleasure to bring you episode 73 with Katie Richards today. Bye for now, everyone, and take care. Bringing you back there, Katie, how would you explain your role and what you do to a 6-year-old child to make them understand?
Hello, little one. I work sitting at a big desk, and I help people that have some problems in life to make the problems less complicated so that they can fix them and then be happy again.
That I can understand that. I reckon Benji would understand that as well, my 2.5-year-old. So I think that's bang on. How would your pet, or if you've had pets in the past, how would they describe you in the courtroom or in law?
The giver of schmackos. I think so. My dog's in the office with us every day. His name is actually Harvey Specter.
Hello! Shout out to Harvey.
He will often sit up in teleconferences with me as well. But I would say he thinks I work too much, whereas he always has to be really disciplined and quiet. So he probably would say I'm just the master of all things bad, but I have lots of schmackos.
No, I love that. Here's to you, Harvey Specter, and dogs go wacko for schmackos. So you got a great master there with Katie. And last but not least, I love this question. If you could go back, and I might know the answer to this based on what you've been talking about, but if you could go back to yourself at any age, when would you visit yourself and what would the advice be?
I think I would go back to my early 20s.
Yes.
I've always been a complete workaholic, like taking workaholic to the workaholic nth degree. And that was always a badge, it was a big thing for me. I would say it's not just it's really who I do, very tied up in my self-worth, and I'm trying to unwind that now. But I would say go and smell the roses, go and do a lot of that fun stuff. You can't delay that for later. Because not everyone gets a later. And I've been very fortunate to do some incredible stuff with my life. And I'm going to continue doing incredible stuff that I wish if I got to my deathbed right now, I wouldn't have looked back and said, I'm so glad I got that extra work done.
No one's going to think that.
Life is precious. And I'm glad that I've made a big contribution. But now I'm going to start focusing on what makes me happy and how can I mix that. So I would say, I would go back and have that chat to my younger me.
That is fantastic there, Katie. And a lot of people listening or rewatching are going to get some they're going to walk away empowered, I think, and illumined. And I think it's important. This message of stop and smell the roses is perfect. Yeah. And, the future's promised to no one. You're right. And I think one of the books that really me was like the 5 regrets of the dying. And no one ever regretted that they worked too much, right? It's just something that you just don't want to be doing. So, I really appreciate your insights.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
Yeah, thanks so much there, Katie. And well, thank you for joining and being here on the Wednesday, everyone. All the best, everyone, and take care. Hey there, Cullen Haynes here, Australia's leading broker for lawyers on LinkedIn, and here's why I want to talk to you today about my new book, The Laws of LinkedIn, 23 ways to find your tribe, build your following, and make 7 figures on LinkedIn. When I started this journey 7 years ago, when we built, myself and Andrew, my business partner, we built legal home loans from the ground up, the pain point for us was we were at a standing start. No one knew who we were. We had no money, we had no context, and basically we had to find a way to make our voice heard, talk to our tribe, the legal community, and build trust. And the only thing we had at our disposal was LinkedIn, which was and still is free. There's over 1 billion people on LinkedIn, and I wish when I started I had this book with me to guide me, because I basically distilled my 23 top leading hacks that we use to build our business to a 7+ figure. And I really want to get it out there and share it with you. So if you're